Good morning. Good morning. What is going on, you beautiful people? It is 2:44 a.m. It is a Monday morning, and I am on my way to the gym because the name of the game is win the morning. You can kill the whole day. With family. And I'm talking about present family. I'm talking about past family, meaning family that has passed away, that is no longer physically with us, with relatives, distant, first, second, third cousin. Then you have God, right? Who is your responsibility to? What is your responsibility? See, I have a lot of book knowledge. I probably have more book knowledge about how family should be governed than I do have real life experience, given the fact that the majority of my time on this planet was either spent in isolation or spent in lockup. And I have to believe that God has orchestrated my life in a way that made sense. Right? Because even though I was in some places that were a little bit tough, and I was in some predicaments and some situations that seemed a little bit tough, I managed to come out of that. And that's a testimony. That's my testimony to somebody, to say that if I can come out of a 10-year incarceration, another 3 or 4 or 5 years incarceration as a juvenile, and then I can come out and I can say, they'll deny you, they'll try to hold you back, they'll try to stop you from getting ahead. And when I say them, the state of Arizona did not want me to get my real estate license. I had to fight for that. When I say them, I could not rent an apartment, so I had to figure out how to buy a home. When I say them, I remember being in ninth grade at Washington High School, and I remember being expelled from the school because the teacher had said that I called her phone and I left this, I don't remember, but it wasn't a good message. And I remember clearly saying that wasn't me. The few times in my life I've been able to say that it wasn't me, I got expelled from school because they said it was, and I knew it really wasn't. So when I say them holding you back, I'm talking about anything that stands in your way from you making forward progress. I used to steal. I used to rob people. I used to sell drugs. Hell, I even tried pimping. I would steal people's cars in the middle of the night while they were sleeping, so that when they got up to go to work in the morning, I inconvenienced people. I inconvenienced and I took things that were not mine. So at a point in life, I understand what it feels like to stand in the way of somebody's progress, because when I was robbing from people, I was standing in the way of their progress. When I was stealing from people, I was standing in the way of their progress. When I was lying to people, I was standing in the way of their progress. But now we fast forward. Who is your responsibility to? See, and I ask that in a way because if you're unclear about who your responsibility is to, then you'll find yourself spreading yourself amongst a bunch of things and people and items and issues that really don't govern your attention. But because you're unknowing, you're unaware, you'll give anything and everything your attention. And not everything deserves your attention on the same level. So what is your priority to? See, me, this is my 3x5 card. The date on it is October 23rd. The end date is December 23rd. I don't ever want to be confused about what my priority is. And I never want to put myself in a situation where I don't feel right, where I don't feel comfortable. How many times are you jeopardizing yourself and your self-growth and your self-worth by putting yourself in the wrong positions because you don't know what you have a priority to? I know people will have you believe that you have a priority to them. Because in nature, we're selfish. That's why when people die, they're not crying because the person is gone. They're crying because the person is no longer there for them. So even in death, we exercise selfishness. And when you wake up every morning and you don't have a clue about what your priority is, be prepared for 10 different things to come at you and to give you the impression that that is your priority. You have to be steadfast and focused. You have to be concentrated and focused. And you have to understand that there's only one priority. The definition of the word priority means what comes first. What's first in line of order? It's simple. For me, see, I get on my knees and I pray every single morning. And I don't always know what I'm going to pray about, but one thing I do know that I'm always going to pray about is just to give thanks. And ask for process. Right? Because the more things you go through, the more you prepare yourself to deal with it. The more you prepare yourself to be aware of it, conscious of it. Right? But you just get up. Start fumbling through Facebook, checking an email, text message. Never once given consideration that you're even existing on this planet. Never once putting in order your priority. people around you are not going to always get it. But you got to be mindful enough to at least get up and let your first thought be, what's my priority? Not what's my duty, what's my obligation. What's my priority? See, I've already tried to do wife priority. I've already tried to do family priority. I've already tried to do kids priority. I've already tried to do business priority. And at the end of the day, when I tried to do all those things as my priority, they just left me drained. Because there was no foundation to it. Then I went back to the drawing board and I made me priority. And I felt a little bit better. But remember what I said, priority means what's number one in a line of order. Facebook's not priority. Social media is not priority. My emails are not priority. My business is not my priority. See, those aren't foundations. Those are end results. Until you get your priorities straight, what comes first, you're going to spend your time torn in a bunch of different directions. And I know that feeling, because everybody pulls at you as if what their agenda is priority for you, is important for you, and is necessary for you. But you have to define what your priorities are all on your own. You have to define your priorities. Because if you let other people or other external forces define your priorities, you will be working in a realm of selfishness. Because remember what I said, even in death, the person crying is not crying for the person gone. They're crying for themselves because they're no longer there for them. So if in death a person would still exercise levels of selfishness, how much in life, while they can still get you and pull you in a direction to do something that they need you to do, will they use their own power of influence to try to get you to believe that they are the priority? What's right? Well, what's your priority? What should I do? What's your priority? Where do I go? What's your priority? Your priority pretty much sets a pathway to your destination, to where you need to go, to where you need to be, to who you need to be with, to who you need to be. But the first thing you want to do is get up, social media, text message, email, phone call, client, kids, breakfast, and never once given consideration to your priority. Not priorities. Never once given consideration to your priority. And you wonder why when Sunday comes around, you're too drained to go to church. Church looks like another task. Because guess what? After church, you only have a couple more hours before Monday's here. Where's your priority? Because see, even though I wrote down 10 priorities, I was able to customize them down to 5, then down to 3, and then at the end of the day, I was able to put those in order of importance from 1 to 3, and guess what became my priority? It wasn't number 3, it was number 1. But I guess taking the time out to write something like this down is not a priority either. And you're trying to figure it out. And you don't even know your foundation. You want to build a house, but yet you don't even know how to lay the foundation. And you wonder why it keeps falling apart. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. But until you start learning what your priority is, you will always be floating around trying to figure out what your purpose is.